you. I'm excited to be here too, Haley. I do remember the retirement ceremony. I knew you'd remember that when I threw that up there. Ladies, I am who I am, and what you see is what you get. I've decided my superpower is authenticity, and I love to help people bring that forward. It is important, I think, that we all live our lives in a way that is true to who we are and true to what we want to accomplish. And I look forward to talking to you about that today. A little bit about myself. My name's Nickel. I work for Ernst & Young as a change and strategic communications consultant by day. And my passion is Nickel's Niche, my strategy coaching business, where I help women create their deliberate action plans so that they can walk into their success with confidence. I spent 17 and a half years in the Army and retired in October 2016. Joined EY in 2016 November, and then my family up in the upper right-hand corner. I've got 4 children ranging in age from 15 to 23. My oldest is married and they still live with me. My son Logan, 20, is a cosmetology student, and Yara, who is a student with him, joined our family after COVID because she needed a place closer to school and has started living with us so that she can go to school and achieve her dreams as well. I am a huge advocate for the LGBTQ community and have a passion for that because I have had to teach my children to live who they are and embrace and respect themselves for the space that they're in. And I love working in that space. My thingy's not changing. There we go. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about deliberate action plan, achieving your success one step at a time. I'm going to go about this a little bit differently and actually ask that everybody kind of participate and get involved. I'm going to ask lots of questions and try and share my process with you as much as I can by asking y'all to respond in the chat room and come off of mute and share your stories as well. So just as a little side note, I know Haley has everybody muted, but if you hold the space bar when you want to speak, it will unmute you so that you can speak. And then when you let go of the space bar, it'll automatically drop you to mute so that you don't have to remember to mute and unmute as we go through the session. All right. So part of this process is understanding your current state and your future state. I don't believe that we can make a change or start to transform anything without understanding and connecting with where we are today. Knowing where we are, who we are, and the space that we're in, and understanding and clearly defining the space that we want to go to in the future. This allows us to create clarity in our minds and really get after how we want to reshape our businesses or even transform ourselves. How many of you would feel comfortable having a conversation about your current state today? Being able to discuss from a holistic perspective where you are in your business and within your space. I see a few hands. I can only see about 6 of you on the screen at a time. So,
not me.
Wendy, well, you know, actually in one of our networking sessions yesterday, you mentioned that, right? You were talking to us in the smaller group that you really wanted to get after that space and understand that. It sounds like you have a lot of great experience though, and a lot to bring forth. So I hope that through the next 40 minutes or so that you're able to pull some tidbits, and I'd love to talk to you more about your journey.
That'd be great. Thank you. Yeah, when I heard what you were doing yesterday, it was like, oh, might need to chat.
Yeah, I'd love that. All right. Is there anyone that would be interested in kind of sharing your current state, where you see yourself today? Go ahead, Beth. Just use your space bar, take yourself off mute and share.
So hi, everybody. I right now have been home for almost 9 months. I had a bakery for almost 11 years and got a little tap on the shoulder. And this little voice told me that I have accomplished everything that I needed to accomplish in my bakery. And that it was time for me to move on. I did not ask any questions. I decided right then and there that I would close my shop. I picked the date as the December 31st of 2019. And I never looked back. I was very, very much at peace with the decision that was put forth. When I locked the door for the last time, I smiled and said, okay, I'm ready for my new adventure.
So in understanding that space, do you know what your future state looks like? Can you share a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I believe that I was left in that space until I learned everything that I needed to learn. So now that I can help other women have a strong foundation, build their confidence, find the resources to have a profitable business.
Wonderful. That is amazing.
That's the path that I am on. My biggest thing is to get women to understand what that business plan is, what it's supposed to be, why you're supposed to have it. Again, and a lot of what Janet was saying, that foundation, you know, how to track those expenses. So I am ready to stand up and be loud and proud and let everybody know my story of where I came from and let people know the pitfalls that I had so that I can move forward. And hopefully they don't have, if they have the same pitfall, they would know how to fix it and get back on the road as fast as possible.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing, Beth. So that's right. This is a wonderful story. That whole discussion about planning, right? Understanding where you are, the space you're in, the space you want to go to, and creating a plan. Sometimes that plan puts us into a position of paralysis, though. It leaves us just devastated on what am I supposed to do next? Where am I supposed to go? And then we get into this conversation and this cycle with ourselves about, well, I don't have a clear enough plan. I don't know enough about what I do. I can't start. Well, the problem is not starting is failing, right? So failing while you're in action is growth. Not starting is failure. And so I like to really work with people to help them create those action plans and remove that paralysis. Help them give themselves permission to fail so they can grow. As an information operations officer in the Army, I spent a lot of time working with peers on the staff at the command level, working with fellow commanders to help them understand our operational environment. We couldn't execute activities or create the effects and the objectives and the end state that we wanted to have without understanding our environment. We needed to know what the space looked like today and what we needed the space to look like at the end of our timeline. And in doing that, we were able to create action plans. One of the big things that we did while doing this is having to understand motivation, right? Everybody's driven by a motivation. In Iraq, while I was deployed in Iraq, the community, the populace, wasn't being criminal in their behaviors because they wanted to be. They were motivated to that criminal behavior because they needed to survive. They had to put food on the table for their families. They wanted to keep a roof over their head. They had needs, base level needs that the insurgents and the terrorist leaders were able to fulfill for them by having them do these criminal activities within their own community, against their own family in some cases. So understanding that motivation, creating an environment in which you're able to replace the feeder for the motivation. You can start to provide for the needs. As you guys think about the motivation for your business and you think about where you are in your space and you look at that today, how many, if you could say yes in the, just answer in the chat, whether you are basing your actions and making your decision off of needs, or are you making those decisions off of wants? Both? That's good. That's a great place to be. Yes, thankfully when it's wants, it's definitely a good space to be in. So I think oftentimes as new businesses, as startups, we're doing it from a place of needs. Kelly, you're talking about doing it from needs. Do you mind sharing a little bit about why you're in a needs space instead of a want space?
As far as my business goes?
Yes.
Hold on one sec. Oops. There we go. As far as my business goes, that is a money management strategy where I really try and look at what I need and I plot it out with my business growth. So that's how I manage my business expenditures.
Right. Okay. So, but do you make your decisions for your business based on needs? When I talk about making your business decisions or making decisions about transformation from a needs space, I'm talking about making it from this point of physical, right? Thinking about Maslow's hierarchy. I need food. I need water. I need to pay my bills this month. I need shelter. It's that security and the physical aspect of needs. Or are you moving more towards a want space in making your decisions? Because now you're talking about making your decisions based on a sense of wanting to belong, a sense of inclusion, being able to demonstrate your skills and your prowess with your business because you're at a point of success and you're moving up that ladder of hierarchy of needs so that you can achieve actualization.
Okay.
So that's when I guess when I'm working with people, that's kind of the conversation I have with them, right? It's where are you making your decisions from? Is your driver needs or is your driver wants? I love what you said about using the needs, right? The money as your decision base. Your needs need to help feed your decision process. But what's the driver? What's the motivation of how your decisions are made for the actions that you take?
Okay, so I'm clearly very left brain.
Nope, that's no.
And my overarching goal with my business is to help other people be successful. So the driver is want in the sense that that's how all my decisions are made on fulfilling my overarching purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't look at all the tools I was going to want in my business and decide that I needed to, to get them all to start.
So, and I think that's great, right? Because that links back with some of what Beth's talking about and some of the conversation that we heard yesterday in one of the presentations about setting those processes up in front, right? When you're doing your planning for your business and you're trying to understand what you want to do, you got to understand what your legacy is going to be. What do you want the business to be? Where do you want it to end? Are you looking for it to be a legacy? Are you looking for it to expand into something that's much bigger? Because some of those ERPs, those systems, those processes that you need to put in place to support growth need to be in place from the beginning. And so that's a great thing to know at the forefront of your mind that you got to think about for your business. In looking at all of this, understanding, working with the commanders as we did, one of the things that we used in our process a lot was the Army's targeting process. We took time in this process to identify, engage, and measure success on our ability to achieve effects in the battlefield. As I was retiring from the Army, I realized that I had been using this targeting process my entire life. I used it in high school when I made decisions about clubs that I wanted to join. I used it when I decided what university I wanted to go to. I used it during college when I was deciding my major and changing majors, jobs that I wanted to take, experiences that I wanted to have. And so in 2015, 2016, as I was getting ready to retire from the Army, and when I initially started working with Haley, I started to modify this process. This is what the Army calls decide, detect, deliver, and assess. It's the D3 alpha targeting process. I modified this into what I call my strategy process now, and use it when I coach, mentor, and communicate with friends, family, and peers, and clients. My process is D4 alpha. I modified this a little bit, right? I now talk about describe. Let's talk about what your current state is. Let's talk about what the future state is. Understand that space you're in and be able to signify between needs to keep your business running and keep yourself moving forward, and what your wants are. What is that space that you want to be in? Because those wants start to feed your future state. The define process is about doing that analysis. Yesterday, one of the ladies talked about SWOT analysis in the beginning of your business and using that as a tool. I like to use SWOT analysis from a personal perspective in driving my own actions, understanding what my strengths and weaknesses are, my opportunities and my threats. I'll get into more on that in a little bit. Develop is creating the actual plan, right? It's setting those actions. It's creating the what do you want to do, by when, and how. Then deliver. That's simple, right? It's take action. Be in action. Do the activities that you're asking yourself to do, and be accountable to yourself. Follow through. Understand why you're not following through. So as you get into the assess, use self-reflection. Understand if you've achieved something, has it moved you closer to where you want to be? If you didn't do something, why didn't you do it? Were you not in the space? Were you not able to do it at that time? Or did you need to adjust and keep yourself moving forward? And maybe the task wasn't necessary anymore. The SWOT analysis. I wanted to take a little time and give everybody a couple minutes just to kind of think about their own personal SWOT. You can do it against your business. You can do it for yourself. But identify one thing that you would like to change from your current state to your future state, and jot down some notes about the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that exist in doing that process. I'm going to pause here for just a moment and let everybody think about that and maybe take a few notes.
Nickel, I understand 3 of the boxes. Can you expand a little bit on what you mean by opportunities?
Yeah, absolutely. So opportunities are, WEN Summit would be an opportunity, right? It is one of those events that you can put a little bit of money towards. You can participate in it and pull some of those golden nuggets that you need to help move yourself forward, to start to reduce your weaknesses. It's education. It's maybe you've got an opportunity to go work with a client somewhere and gain some experience that you don't already have. That would be opportunities. Yep. All right. Would somebody like to share some of their notes on their SWOT analysis? Okay, Marilyn.
Hi, this is really going to put me in a hot seat, but I immediately identified one, and it is, let me find it, missing skills. I am still missing some social media skills, which is making me miss some opportunities, some simple things that maybe everyone else here doesn't struggle with, but I may struggle with. That is definitely hurting my business. Can I give you an example?
Absolutely, dear.
Very simple. The first day of the summit, I noted that a lot of people had beautiful pictures of themselves up instead of a live feed. And I thought that would be really great if I have to run to the ladies' room. I'll just, instead of just going off camera, I'll put a really good looking picture of myself that makes me look 20 years younger. I couldn't figure out how to do it. So during the break, I Google how to change live, blah, 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 blah. Gave me instructions, printed out. I rushed back to the computer. I'm trying to do it. It's not working. Next break, I go to the computer, Google a different verbiage, how to do it. Can't do it. So that's a typical example. I'm a very smart girl. I spent 28 years in IT selling billion-dollar network switches. But I can't figure out simple things, sign of genius, and that's holding me back in my business, I'm sure.
Well, so yes and no, maybe, right? Because the opportunity is the WEN Summit. You took that opportunity, right? You're here. You sought, Google's a great opportunity. I can go see if I can figure out how to do it. And then your network, right? Who in your network might have already done it? So there's an opportunity there. Right, so
it's coming. Oh, it's coming. My friends out there that I know here at the summit, I'll be reaching out to you.
Absolutely.
Friend.
So I recently had a conversation with my 17-year-old about SWOT analysis, right? So we had this conversation. Rory, my 17-year-old, struggles with being able to create a self-identity. It is part of the anxiety and depression that he deals with. It's part of his journey on transgenderism and being able to shape who that person is and change who everybody's known him as so that it aligns with his internal feelings. So I talked to him about his strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And I let him know that as he looked at and listed out weaknesses, for every weakness that he wrote, I wanted him to come back over to the opportunities box and identify an opportunity. The reason I've got this box in the colors that I have it in is because opportunities are used to reduce your weaknesses. They are actions that you can take so that you can educate yourself. Maybe it's hiring somebody to help you with your social media. Maybe it's hiring a coach so that you can help create your business plan, or hiring somebody to deal with numbers because your weakness is numbers. I know mine is. I've met some great people on here this week that I'm going to talk to about my accounting stuff, right? Strengths are used to mitigate threats. We cannot remove threats from our environment. We can identify them. We can understand what they are, and we can use our strengths to mitigate and reduce the impact that those threats can have on our outcomes. So competitors, okay, how many of my competitors can I actually pull into my network and create an affiliate marketing opportunity with? Because my differentiator from my competitors is the way I do and my process. They don't do it the same way that I do it. Maybe they don't have the same experience that I have, but they offer something in their wheelhouse that might help a client that I have. And I'm not above referring somebody over to somebody else so that they can get the best benefit out of what they need. But we can't do that without creating those networks and building those relationships. By having strong relationships, by having strong networks, we reduce our competition threat. Goals. This one is a hard one, right? I mean, we set goals all the time, right? First of the year, we do New Year's resolutions, and we know how Many times people don't get to those, right? So in creating a deliberate action plan and building out your goals for how you want to move yourself from current state to future state, I want you to think about those goals as, what do you want to accomplish, by when, and how? So I'm sharing a couple of my goals here. I want to complete my doctorate no later than July 2023 by taking one course every 8 weeks starting in February 2021, right? That is, it's pretty comprehensive. I don't need to add inside my plan that I'm going to take course A from this date to this date or course B from this date to this date. I've captured it here. Going into my second task, I'm working on a book right now. I want to write a book to reshape women's relationship with success no later than December 2021. In order to do this, I can't encompass all of the steps that need to be done to get me to that goal, right? That's a pretty monumental goal. So I start to break it down into smaller goals. I will conduct 15 more interviews. I have 13 done right now, no later than 13 December 2020 by gathering referrals and scheduling leads. I will conduct initial analysis of the interviews no later than 28 February by spending at least an hour a day with the data. This starts to build out deliberate action. I can measure my success and my completion of these activities. So, does anyone do anything similar in their business planning or in setting goals for yourself with your own business, or when you're trying to change your current state to your future state? Okay. Does it look like this? Do your goals look like this, or are they written differently? Would somebody like to share some of their goals that they use to drive their business?
Yeah, Nickel, I do something very, very similar.
Okay.
I do bullet points. This is excellent. Thank you. I do it on a daily basis. I go through everything. So.
T, I think that a lot of times people need to be more consistent in this. I'm guilty of that. I need to be more consistent. Joe, thank you for sharing that. Go ahead, Coach Jess.
I am completely the opposite. I will write things down. I'm constantly writing lists, but I can't refer back to them for my goal setting. So I just write the list, and then I just saw one from about 5 years ago, and I was like, oh, well, some of those are way off, and some of those, financially, I'm happy to say I am well ahead of what my goal was. So that's a score, but yeah.
So I think that, so I put goals on here, right? My slide says goals. I probably shouldn't have said goals. I should have said tasks. Because this is about action, right? Goals aren't always about action. So the difference between this would be, if I was writing this as a true goal statement, it would simply be complete doctorate no later than July 2023. That's my goal. But now, by taking it that step further, right? I've said what I want to accomplish, but now I'm going to talk about how. How am I going to accomplish it? I'm going to take a course every 8 weeks. So now I have to come back and revisit that, right? I have to come back and look at these things that I've set out, these actions I've set out for myself, and I've got to measure progress. I've got to look and determine whether or not I'm going to achieve what I've said I want to achieve. And so that's how you interact with this. This deliberate action plan is a living, breathing document. I visit mine every single day. I start my day with a quick review of what's on the list and what the things are that I need to accomplish today. And I end the day by understanding what I accomplished. Now, something that my 15-year-old has taught me recently, keep in mind, I said my 15-year-old, I like to complain, I didn't get anything done today. I feel like I've been busy, I've been all over the place, but I got nothing done. Well, the problem is, it's not that I didn't get anything done, as she's pointed out, because she makes me sit down and list, Mom, what did you do today? So I have to start talking about, well, I went to the grocery store. and I made dinner, and I had to make lunch for everybody. Oh yeah, and you needed this project fixed, so I fixed this project, and we needed to do this, and I paid these bills. And pretty soon she's like, okay, mom, so you just listed out 20 things and you had 3 on your list that you wanted to do and you only got 1 done. It's because you did all this other stuff. Cut yourself a break, right? So, so it's great to get that feedback and understand. So at the end of the day, I capture those things that I did, right? How do they relate to my list? How do they relate to changing from my current state to my future state? And then I have to sit down and I have to assess. So I have to look at, are the actions that I'm doing, are the things that I'm putting into this effort, are they actually getting me towards my goals, right? Are they taking me to where I want to be? Are they helping me achieve what I want to do? Or am I wasting my resources? We all have limited resources. Our most valuable resource is time. If we don't understand how to frame the actions that we want to take, we waste time. And by wasting time, we're leaving money on the table because we're not putting our energy in the place or with the people that are helping us bring the money into our business. And sometimes that may not be green, right? It may not be actual currency, but it's still value, because that person may be a referral to somebody who's going to get us a $1,000 contract or help us build from a one-on-one 1099 into a 1099 contractor, or into a multi-million-dollar business that's doing speaking and books and training events. So it's understanding where you are, where you want to be, and how to create that through deliberate action. Because we can write a beautiful plan, right? We can have everything. It can be the most wonderful thing and it looks like everything's going to be great, but guess what? Life gets a vote. Life gets a vote. We used to say in the Army, no plan survives first contact, but a plan executed today with a 70% solution is better than 100% solution that is never started. And so one of the things that I really like to encourage people to do is I use 2 ways of assessing my progress. I use measures of performance and I use measures of effectiveness. Measures of performance at the simplest level is measuring the tasks. Did I accomplish what I said I was going to accomplish by when I said I was going to accomplish it? Did I accomplish more than I said I was going to do? And then how do those tasks accumulate, right? Because it's not about one action creating an effect. It's about the cumulative effect that those actions, those collateral effects that those actions have on moving you towards your end state. So how effective are my actions being? How much progress am I making on my roadmap to my future state?
Nickel, I have a question if you don't mind.
No, go ahead, Joe.
Am I there? Okay.
I hear you, but I don't see you anymore. Go.
Yeah, I have my own system. I think I showed you I got my goals, I got everything. And then what do you do because we as entrepreneurs, I think, beat ourselves up. I get to my goals page and I'm not even close to like hitting my revenue and all these goals that I set. How do you deal with that? I mean, I like what you said about your daughter pointing out all these other things that you did, but what do you do when you don't like measure up to yourself?
So Joe, it's self-reflection, right? First of all, were you realistic with yourself? When you set that goal, were you in a place that allowed you to say that, yes, I can grow from 10K to 50K next month. I'm at 10K this month. I'm going to make 50K next month. Is that realistic? Are you being fair to yourself when you set the goal? You know, I like to practice under promise, over deliver. We tell this to our new consultants. I teach this as a mentor to folks when they're offering services. Under promise and over deliver. If we teach our clients to do that, why do we not do it for ourselves? So yes, I'm hard on myself. We all are, right? We are our own worst critic, but let's be fair. When you sit down and look at it, okay, I was going to go from 10K to 50K. I had 2 new events in my month that should have easily pushed me to that 50K mark. Well, guess what? COVID happened. One of them was a live event. It was in person. Couldn't do it anymore. You just lost $30,000 worth of revenue. So how likely is that 50K mark anymore? Right? So you have to remember, life gets a vote. You have to understand that place where you are. I'm taking a class right now, one of my doctorate classes, and it ended a week ago. I needed to ask for a 2-week extension because life happened during the 8-week course. So I asked for a 2-week extension. Well, life happened over the weekend, right? 4 papers to write. I was supposed, my goal was to be done with all the papers by Sunday night. Well, Saturday night, I had to rush down to Woodbridge, 45 minutes from where I live, to pick up my 17-year-old from his dad's place because he had a panic attack. So there went my evening there. That's an emotional drain, right? Now I'm exhausted. I'm not in a headspace to turn around and write a paper. Sunday, sit down and get ready to start doing stuff. I do the errands that I need to do. I get everything set up and I'm getting ready to start work on my paper. I get a call from my ex-husband. You need to go to Fairfax County Hospital. Logan's been in an accident. He needs his insurance information. So I rush to the emergency room, right? Spend 4 hours at the emergency room with my son. He is okay. Thankful, very grateful. He's limping a little bit and has a few bruises on him, but he rolled down a 35-foot waterfall and had to be air evac'd out of the Shenandoah Mountains to the hospital. So not in a mind space to write papers and do homework, just not there, right? So life gets a vote, folks. Be fair to yourself, Joe. Don't beat yourself up if you're not achieving your revenue goal. Sit down and look at why that is, right? Break it down, dissect it, get to the root cause. I like to use the 5 why method. Why are you not meeting your revenue? Answer that question. Why? Why? By the time you've asked yourself why 5 times, you usually have it drilled down enough that you're at the root cause. You'll get to that root cause. Now, go back to your SWOT analysis, right? There's your root cause. That's your weakness, threat. What are those things that you need to do so that you can start to mitigate those actions? What are those things that you need to work on? What are the opportunities you need to create? What strengths do you need to rely on? Maybe you need to give yourself a little bit more runtime because those events that you had planned weren't able to happen, right? So go back and look at it that way. Be fair to yourself. I think that's important for all of us to understand. Failure is not missing a goal, right? You don't fail if you don't miss the goal. You don't fail if you didn't hit your revenue goals. You don't fail if you didn't complete the book on timeline. You don't fail if you tried something and it didn't get you to where you wanted to be. You fail if you don't take action. That's where failure comes from, failing to start. I like to talk about success. One of the things I'm working on is a book on success. So if there's any ladies on here that want to be interviewed about their relationship with success, email me. I'd love to talk to you. I want to change the way we think about success, right? I want to change that relationship that we have with success. Success is not about money. It's not about the title. It's not about the car that I drive or the house that I live in. For me, success is measured daily. Was I the best version of myself? And did I learn something today? If I can say yes to those 2 things, I was successful. If I can't say yes, then I spend some time reflecting to understand how I can do better tomorrow. Because that is where we need to be. That is how we need to measure ourselves. That is what needs to happen, because life gets a vote. I think it's important that we live authentically, and it's important that we respect ourselves. If you don't respect yourself and embrace your own self-identity, no one else is going to respect you. So respect yourself above all else. Live who you are and be who you are without apologizing for who that person is. Because as long as you embrace you, you are going to find contentment and success on your path to achieving your goals. Just real quick, I'm gonna leave you guys with this page as I open it up for questions and discussion for the next few minutes. And this is on here. This is how you can connect with me. I'll post this in the WEN group so that everybody has a copy of this slide with the links. So questions.
So why do so many people tell us when they're talking about setting our goals to set those hairy, audacious goals? And they keep putting that out there. And then to Joe's point, it's like, well, then I never get there. And
well, so there's a balance that you have to have, right? You've got to find a space for yourself where the goals that you are setting cause you to grow. They force you to get out of your comfort zone and force you to move beyond where you are right now. Because if you don't set goals that are higher than what you set last month, you achieved your 10K was my goal last month. I achieved 10K. Well, I don't want to put 10K for my goal next month because now I'm not growing. I'm not moving towards my future state, right? Now I'm stagnant. Remember, it's staying in action. So you still set audacious goals, right? Push yourself to grow, set that goal. But instead of setting that goal at 50K when you made 10K this month, set that goal at 15K, set that goal at 20K. I'm really sorry for the noise in the background. My daughter just walked out of the house and the puppy is having a fit in the window. So, but that, Wendy, I think it's finding that balance, right? You are the only one that can successfully identify what it is you're capable of achieving, but you've got to remember to set those goals to force yourself to grow. Other questions?
thank you. That was helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, Nickel, it seems to me, you really helped me a lot, because I think what I've been doing is I've been rushing. I tell my clients, I'm like, you're rushing, but I'm over here rushing, and I don't give myself enough time. So I set those goals, I think they're realistic, but it takes time. And I think what I've just learned is that I got to give myself more time to achieve these goals.
Yes. Be realistic, right? Under promise, over deliver. Give yourself an opportunity. Don't set yourself up for failure. The hardest thing to do is to follow our own advice. I'm fortunate. I've got tons of friends around me that like to point out to me, you tell me to do it this way. Why aren't you doing it that way? So surround yourself with people like that, right? Give them your advice, make sure they're following it, and they're going to call you on it when you're not following it for yourself. We got time for one more question, and then I'm going to pass it back over to Haley because I'm at the end of my time. Eat an elephant one bite at a time. Absolutely, Susie. Any other questions? All right, thank you guys for your time. Thank you. I've enjoyed this. This is very exciting. This is the first one that I've done. So I made myself grow today. Haley, back over to you.